Okay, so don't be mad at me.
What happened? What'd you break?
The microwave.
You broke my microwave. How?
Making hot dogs.
How in the hell did you break my microwave making hot dogs?
It's a pretty good question.
Anymore, it was gonna be your microwave, so you f***ed me out.
Lovely.
So you don't have no microwave.
I can hear Aunt Judy laughing.
Yeah, the little guy Aunt Judy is your sister-in-law.
Oh, Heather.
Heather. How in the hell did you break them? Hey, that was Grandma's microwave.
I'll admit that this was supposed to be done before the end of October. I lied. I guess now we're here in late December. New Year's is in 2 days at the time of recording this, and I'm sitting in a completely devastated room. My living room isn't any better off either. Let's just say a couple people wanted me to do something a little special. I keep showing off bits and pieces on my collection, but it's time that I show them all off. Every single airsoft gun in one video that's in my home. Would you consider over 50 guns to be a big collection?
Alright, so out of everything, favorite gun?
Favorite gun? It's the assault rifle from Halo, bro.
Over the course of putting on USAirsoft, I've done this type of video twice before, and you can see how this mess has grown like a tumor. I'm going to mix things up though in this video. I want to give you a little insight into how I got everything in my collection. I want to be as honest as possible by saying I didn't pay for a lot of the guns that you see in my collection, and that some are only in my possession so I can make content with them before I have to send them back off to companies I work with like Airsoft GI, G&G, KWA, and so on. I'm also including links to as many of these as possible, just in case if you want one of these for yourself. I'll even add links to 3 other Airsoft collection videos that I really enjoy watching from time to time. Now, even after I spread everything out in my apartment, it's still a mess, but I organized things into 7 groups. Pistols, M4s, M4 alternatives, AKs and variants, 7.62 and long rifle replicas, my top 5 favorites, and the others pile that consists of everything else that I was too lazy to properly organize. And it's only fitting to begin with my pistols. This group has definitely grown over the past 2 years. It's now sitting at 16 pistols, with the 16th being an HFC M9 that's so trash that's not even worth mentioning at all. I'm not even going to try to fish it out of my closet, so we'll officially start this off with my Madbull AGX XM320 grenade launcher. Not really a pistol, but whatever. I bought this launcher way back when I used to work at SeaWorld San Antonio, in between junior and senior year of high school, for about $180. I was making that about every day in tips working at SeaWorld, so I didn't think much of it. I just knew I wanted to put together Frank Castle's M4 setup from Punisher Warzone, so I splurged just a bit. But thinking about it now, $180 on a grenade launcher is a little ridiculous. Long story short, I was able to put that build together, but I never really used it in game, so I kinda wasted my money. This launcher works fine though, like every other grenade launcher out there, but I'm still wondering what rifle to put this on now. Maybe one day I'll put that M4 build together again, but I don't know. Next I have a pair of HFC MAC 11s, and both of these don't work at all. I got both of these for free at the D14 Winter Swap Meet like a year ago, thanks to my friend Rich, so I can't complain. My idea was I'd use these for drop guns or props for some future video, but realistically, they just make me want to get a pair of fully functioning KWA MAC 11s or just get a Tokamarui MAC 10 AEP. Setting these down, I can show off my ICS Black Leopard Eye XAE that ICS sent me 2 years ago to make a review on it. These run for about $100, and for that cost I was actually really impressed with its performance, and these sold pretty well from what I could see. I got this pistol and a few other guns in my collection for quote-unquote free, but I still have to produce content for them to advertise them. You've all seen, however, that doesn't guarantee that you'll get some biased perfect review where I ignore key points that people have found problems with. I gotta admit though, this was one of my favorite pistols until my only magazine for it just disappeared from one of my bags one day. I'll get another one soon. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that I'll be leaving links to a bunch of the reviews that I did over a lot of these guns in this collection, so there's more reason to check out the description. Next, for my first CO2 pistol that I have my ASG CZ P09 Duty. Duty. I love this pistol so much that I actually used it to the point where the safety got all wompy. I bought this pistol for I think $125 4 years ago, and I just loved it immediately. I'm not the only one too. A lot of people love this ASG. I've been thinking about picking up the newer gray model soon to replace this older one, but I'm still up in the air about that. I haven't used this pistol for any normal skirmish games in a long while, but I need to get back into the habit of doing so. After all, gun malfunctions and dead batteries have ruined games for me far too often. Good sights, threaded muzzle, reliable magazines, I've never had leak before in my life, and a comfortable grip is why I love the P09, and the next pistol shares a few of those traits. This is my G&G GTP9. This is a more standard all black model that G&G sent me a long time ago to review. This is another low-cost polymer-framed sidearm that you can pick up for $110, but this one has some pretty nice controls on it. I like the elongated slide release on the right side and all the settings available to adjust your hop up. It's an all-around light and easy-to-use pistol, but just wait until the SMC9 fully releases. I can see a lot of those selling by the way people always freak out whenever I get to show one off. A review for this pistol will be linked in the description. Alright, so now I have some M1911s. It is the most popular pistol in Airsoft, so of course I've got a few. I've got some really basic ones like this really old WE Tech model that was one of my very first Airsoft guns I bought, and I have this G&G GPM M1911. This one is in a lot better shape than my WE, and it actually works too. My WE has been through a lot. It's the old man that's seen too much, and since it sits in my room, maybe it's seen a little bit too much, so it's missing more paint than my mom's piece of crap Hyundai Sonata. It feels really well built though, but these older WE M1911s were never known for being very reliable. Next, I got this WE for about $120 I think, as a present for myself on my 18th birthday. And it just looks, well, it looks like a piece of a cartel membership goodie bag. All the engravings look yummy, but adding the Madbull Punisher compensator instantly jumps up the yummy factor. This WE works much better than my older WE model, but it's still pretty meh in comparison to my G&G GPM 1911. Let's just say I would rather give away a couple G&Gs than a couple WE Tech M1911s, that's for sure. Then to wrap up the M1911s, we have this Wolfsbane by Echo One. This one is more of a competition pistol by the looks of things, with all the extended releases, and thanks to the extended magazine that's actually cool to see right out of the box. This isn't my gun though. A few of the guns I have are just for review before I have to send them back off to Airsoft GI. If I got around to it, this Echo One should be pretty fun to review however. It shoots pretty well, and people like the looks of it. I just hope it holds up and parts don't just start falling off on their own. Alright, last three pistols. The engraved WE 1911 was pretty cool, but what do you think about this Armory Works High Kappa? This model is called the Custom AW HX2201 Gold Standard IPSC, a name worth naming your children after. This can be considered the most flashy pistol here, and this is the only high kappa I have at the moment until I have to send it back to Airsoft GI. I really should have reviewed this a long time ago, but I've just been way too busy with other videos. This pistol is all decked out with all sorts of cuts to bring down the weight, which actually made shooting this pistol pretty smooth. The trigger is also pretty short straight out of the box, and it just grabs people's attention. Maybe I'll get the chance to properly review this pistol, but we'll see. The right side safety is already loose, so I bet it will be a bit of a back and forth review of me praising it and bashing it. Then wrapping this up, I have these last two ICS pistols that were sent by ICS themselves. We've already seen the XPD if you watch my channel religiously, but the BM9 I haven't shown off much. But with these pistols came the ICS Revo system valves that help with gas efficiency, and both are sub $130 pistols. The XPD is more tactical and smaller with the standard magazine inserted, but the BM9 is more of a classic. Recoil is pretty unexciting however. I don't know, the XPD just did a whole lot better. It just felt more powerful compared to the BM9. Let me know in the comments which one you like more, because if we're talking about practical factors, I'd say that the XPD wins the better pistol award. Geez, I almost forgot about my revolvers. Both are Dan Wesson CO2 single and double actions, the older of which was won by my father from the Guerrilla Airsoft Radio podcast contest a couple years ago, and the newer model came from ASG themselves, so I could review it. That video was also really long ago, but it's still here, as heavy and as good looking as it's always been. And then I'm done talking about the pistols that I own. I have plans to get a few more like the FNX 45 or a couple high kappas, maybe even a Tokamuri Mac 10 I was talking about earlier, but let's just move on to the AKs. I've got just a few AKs, but soon I'll be giving away one of these once we break 175,000 subscribers. We kinda already did that, so I should probably make that giveaway soon. That AK would be the Arcturus AK-74U that Jag Precision sent over to me to check out. I've seen a lot of wood furnished AKs, so it's a little surprising to see a tacked out one now and then. And it gets a few bonus points for being compact as well. Arcturus has gone full thrust, you might say, into the airsoft market for the US, so just about every rifle they produce is on the Airsoft GI website now. And telling by the steel body on this model, I'd say they're built pretty well on the outside. I got to check out a bunch of these at GI Tactical a couple months ago in Plano, Texas, before putting together my review, but after the review was finished, I was happy with this rifle, and I'm sure whoever wins this one will be happy with it as well. Then we have a rifle that's been requested so many times to get reviewed. This is the LCT AK-12 I have just for the moment, just so I can put together a review on it. Yep, it's built like a cast iron ship, but that doesn't mean that it can't be a pain to work with. Battery storage is really bad and controls are almost too tight, but it's still an AK-12, so come on. LCT is known for their top tier AEGs, and this is one of them that I've been wanting to check out. I just gotta get the right battery for it before I really get started on that review. There's a lot of people waiting on me, so I should get that battery soon. Alright, next I'm just gonna grab all of these and go outside. Even the one in my 5 favorites pile. These are all of my Galils. All of my airsoft replicas, that is. I don't think taking my real one outside would be the smartest idea right now. I've been running these for over 5 years now, and I'm still not bored of them. I've replaced some parts in all of them, but nothing ever major. I've replaced the safety spring on my personal Galil AR, nicknamed the N. I've altered how the stocks are mounted onto the receivers on all of my rifles, but the flimsy SEMA model I have. And I've Loctited everything that never needs to come off of my Galils, like gas block pins. I pretty much have the ICS Galil down to a science, and I can provide some advice for anyone looking into getting one. The ICS models are more pricey to get than the SEMA model, but it's worth it by a landslide. My personal Galil still needs a little touching up after the recent BB Wars event that I went to because I used it like all day long and the gas box somehow still fell off. And even though I tell people not to touch other people's guns without them knowing, someone still messed around with my ARM and of course they dropped it. So now my ARM handguards look like this. Please stop touching my Galils. But whatever, it's still nothing that I can't handle. All these but the SEMA are my most used guns in my whole collection, so I try to take care of them. I'm just scared someone else messing with my things will be the real end of one of them. I should probably lock them away when I'm not using them. At least that way people would stop picking up my rifles and dropping them like a new father with a newborn. I could literally sit around telling stories about my Galils for hours, for how many times I've had people say, "I love your FAL," or how I was approached by some fat fuck neo-Nazi because I brought, as he expressed, a Jew gun to the field. That guy can eat a bag of crusty dicks. Long rifles are up next, and I only have 6 rifles in this group, 3 of which are G&Gs, 2 M14s and an AR-10 variant called the TR-16 308 MBR WH. G&G sent this rifle a year ago, along with an L85A1, and ever since then, I've loved both of them. The MBR more due to the fact that I can actually keep magazines in the gun. Not sure why my magazine release just abandoned ship one day on the field, but at least it's accurate to the real rifle. The MBR that I have features a long key mod rail, a huge stock, which is great for battery space, ambidextrous controls, an electronic trigger and magazine cutoff, and a very good looking mid-cap magazine. Despite what you'll see a little later, I'm not into a lot of M4s, but I have a soft spot for compact M4s and 308 style AR-10s. That's evident of all the attachments I threw on here, like the tracer unit, the foregrip, and almost useless but attractive carry handle. My M14 Veteran and long barrel EBR also get a lot of love from me. It's so uncommon to see M14s nowadays around Texas, so it's always a good day when I get to take either of these rifles out to the field. They're solid performers that are screaming for upgrades and build plans, and I hope to answer those requests in 2020, so I can push the limits of both of these rifles and really treat them well. I got both of these rifles, 4 magazines, chargers, batteries, side mountable rails, and extra wiring from a friend years ago who was quitting AEGs and going strictly to HPA. He really didn't care about the roughly $1,000 investment that he made into these rifles, so he sold both of these and everything else for $250. He regrets it just a bit, but not enough to get him to drop his Airsoft Junkies JG M16A1 and get back into AEGs, so I'll just keep loving these rifles. On the smaller table now, I have an FAL, a G3, and an M-LOK SVU. Not much to say about the Echo 1 SVU. I literally just got it for review work from Airsoft GI, and then I have to send it back. The footage you're seeing of it right now is everything I've done with it so far. It feels pretty nice though. Battery storage is a little cramped, but this is a really unique rifle. I'm really hoping I can give this rifle a good review, but I've got to study this Echo one just a bit more before I can start on that. The LCT G3 that I've got here was a part of the first time I ever got to work with LCT, and I thought sending a message to them wouldn't be taken very seriously in the first place, but then again, this video happened. I still stick to everything I said in that review because this rifle is freaking awesome. Range is just dummy good with heavier BBs, and the build quality is Brock Lesnar quality. Except for the safety switch. I don't know what happened, but one day I noticed that my safety just kicked the bucket. The safety just doesn't work anymore. It's a semi, and full auto rifle. I do need to take care of that soon though. This is the last LCT I've got in my collection, but both the AK-12 and this G3 make for awesome high-end AEGs. Even their super extendo AK magazines are pretty awesome in their own way. Then for this King Arms FAL I have here, well, I gotta thank Dan of 878 Airsoft for it. Ever since I got my Ares L1A1 years ago, I've always wanted a matching set, and that meant I had to get a King Arms FAL. Well, lucky enough, Dan has a little bit of everything in his massive attic collection. This rifle was just building dust in his attic, so we made a deal. I cleaned it up, the charging handle basically crumbled away in my hands while oiling it, and now it can sit right next to my Ares rifle. A lot of techs prefer the King Arms FAL to the Ares L1A1, so I'll hear now and then how this rifle is better than my Ares. Finding a King Arms that's not completely trashed is a little harder to find, but I'll keep both of these rifles as pristine as I can. Here's hoping nothing else just crumbles away, however. And then, turning around, is my irony pile. I really shouldn't have to say pile. I never wanted to be the M4 bro. But here we are with 10 M4 rifles. God. Okay, I'm gonna speed this up. This SEMA CQBR is my girlfriend's stepdad's. He just wants me to sell it, but I'm renting it out every weekend instead because $35 every weekend is better than $100 all at once. Then I've got two Lancer Tacticals with the Enforcer standing out quite a bit more than the Gen 2 rifle. The Gen 2 might not get a review, but I really hope that I don't have to skip on the Enforcer review. Sometimes time restraints screw me. I could review this now, but I've got gameplay to put out this week, and this company wants this review out first, and then there's a big unboxing to do. That's what it's like to be me sometimes, but I'm still grateful to have anything to do that entertains you guys. On the back burner right now is the KWA Ronin T6, which should get a good review since I like compact M4s. I never really reviewed this Classic Army XM177, but then again, it would be mostly the same review compared to my Classic Army M16 video. But my M16 is a little bit more personal to me, and that would be because of the 210 serial number. Can't get any more lucky than that. Having your serial number match up to the area code of your home city. But then again, I did get this Polarstar VFC M27 IAR out of my first Airsoft mystery box. That kind of luck got slapped right back down after someone stole my regular and hose from a truck that I was storing extra gear in at a Milsim event. Then to wrap up my irony pile, we have an Apex M4 I unboxed recently, but I haven't tried it out yet. Then there's an ICS, CXP, MMR, DMR that easily has more range than any of my other M4s, as well as the longest name out of my entire collection. And lastly, there's my G&G and Knights Armament SR30, my most used M4 along with my Classic Army M16. It's just a comfortable length rifle with ambidextrous controls, great accuracy, and a great trigger inside of it. It's still an M4 though, so whenever I want to feel a little normal, but decide to use something a little different, I look to this pile. These are my M4 alternatives. First off, I went over these two rifles right here in my last review, and for the most part, I was talking about just how great and terrible they are at the same time. The Real Sword Type 97s are pretty rare where I'm from. In fact, I've only seen 2 of them in Texas, so having both of them in my room is pretty awesome. The Far East Tactical Group sent both of these rifles to me months ago so I could make a proper review on them. And with that done now, I can send the standard Type 97 back and enjoy the B model that goes well with my G&G L85A1 and ICS L86A2 LSW. These two rifles are great in certain spots, but could be a lot better in other areas. Like how the ICS L86 looks awesome, and I've only seen 2 of them in Texas, but the internals are way out of date despite being a newly produced airsoft gun. And how the G&G L85A1 ETU model looks great and has a great body weight, but the blowback system was really weak, that broke before the review was even finished, and the magazine release just fell out of the gun like the real thing. I guess it's actually the most realistic O85A1 out there then. I promised to get my G&G O85 fixed, but as for Big Schlappy, well, there's nothing to talk about. It kinda sucks compared to newer guns, but it's still a rare bird to see, and it can reach out thanks to its massive inner barrel. Such a cool light support weapon. My last two M4 alternatives consist of my PTS and GMP ACR Masada and my G&G FNC. I bought both of these rifles a while ago for pretty good prices for my friend Ryan and a fan named Andrew. It's a bit surprising to see what guns become uncommon in Airsoft, and it's even more surprising to see the lack of ACRs lately. I know that Modern Warfare 2 has to blame for a lot of the ACR hype back in the days, like how FAMASas were all over the place when Black Ops 1 dropped, but whatever happened to them? Whatever happened to the ACR platform? These things look great with some modifications. Deranged Airsoft proves that all the time. And the FNC by G&G became a discontinued collector's item way too fast. I'm still not looking to sell my FNC, and no Apate fan will steer me in our way. And as for my ACR, well, I'll let you know whenever I come off my Modern Warfare 3 hype. I know it's not exactly the same as the in-game model, but I could always change that in the future. Looking to the left, I have my others pile. The guns that didn't fit into any of the categories I laid out. This pile is filled with my cool looking but ultimately terrible Lancer Tactical M1918 BAR. I made a review and a gameplay video with this impractical nonsense rod 2 years ago. My old Jagarms Gen 2 scattergun is also here, and it's also terrible. Always go with the Gen 2s and up, because I don't hear anyone complaining about leaks or anything about those. My Ares and Umarex G36 by Leap Force is also in here. This one has some motor issues I need to work out, but it's a lovely gun that only gets hot when you actually use it. It is not the best support weapon. Seriously, these older Ares guns have some serious overheating issues. And then I have my very nice GHK AUG or AUG that I have so much fun using whenever I get to actually take it out. I need to get some more magazines for it so I can properly run it on the field. But if you've never played with a gas blowback gun, then you really need to find one and shoot one a few times. Expensive as hell to run, yes, but you'll really appreciate the experience. The GHK AUG is another rare bird in my state of Texas, so of course I've got one. My VFC MP5 with Avalon Internals is a great addition to my collection that I got sent from Airsoft GI. I always knew that this would be a great SMG once I saw them making a return with upgraded internals, so I wasn't surprised that the review came out very positive. I definitely recommend it if you've got the money, and I just might put on a wood kit on my MP5 sometime in 2020. The Elite Force and VFC MP7 AAG made a massive splash when they hit the market, but sadly, I haven't had the time to get any footage of this one besides the footage that you see on screen. I don't expect the review on this hype beast to go poorly though. The rate of fire and range is pretty solid, and it's built very nicely. Probably my top two meaningful guns added over the past couple years would have to be my Classic Army Nemesis X9 that was custom made for me by Tex at Classic Army, and this seemingly raggedy GMP Stoner 63. Okay, so this one needs some explaining. You see, this gun right here was in a burning house, and it kinda survived. Kinda. The internals are cooked, parts are missing, things came off in my hands, but Dominic of the Studies and Observation Group on Instagram gifted this piece to me as a fan of the channel. Thanks to his home insurance though, he was able to get a brand new Stoner 63, so he didn't go without. I think that story is really cool, and I really appreciate this. My plans were to rebuild this, but parts are really hard to come by for this LMG, unless I find a boneyard gun. Or this could just go to one of Dom's friends, so it doesn't go wasted. Only time will tell. My X9 also tugs on me. It was my first ever custom gun ever made for me, and my only custom gun. I don't have 15 Umbrella Armory guns with my name etched onto the side of them, and I don't think Polar Star is looking to work with me, but I really appreciate this piece and that Classic Army sent me a bunch of magazines so I could use it on the field. At this point, I went over a few of my top 5 guns in my collection, like my personal ICS Galil AR and my Ares L1A1, so I guess that leaves me with my ICS M1 Grand and my Tokamarui PSG-1 and SPOS 12. If everything else disappeared from my collection but my top 5 guns, I'd feel safe saying that I'd still have a pretty unique collection. I do have 2 of the most beloved Tokamaruis ever made after all. I don't think of myself as a TM snob that thinks that they never need to be modded and that they're perfect and that they're not giant money pits. But these 2 guns are pretty hot. I can take either my PSG-1 or my SPOS 12 to any event or any game, any field, it doesn't matter. People start asking questions, wanting photos, asking to shoot them. They're just too iconic. They're not the best or even moderate on today's airsoft fields, but such a thrill to use, and maybe one day I can turn a SPOS 12 into an HPA semi-auto thanks to my friend Trung the Maker. He's one of the best airsoft builders I know in the state of Texas, so if anyone can do it, it's him. My Garand from ICS is another nice to see rifle that people ask a lot about. I really need to review this gun soon. I have a lot to say about it and a lot to pick on. I do plan to put together a proper loadout for this rifle later on in 2020 so I can attend World War II events. I just need a couple $100 and a bunch of extra magazines because the little low cap magazines that this rifle come with run dry quick. But yeah, this rifle will make a really good review one day. And with that said, I guess that's every gun in my collection. Every gun that's filled up my apartment that I don't even live anymore. This video took forever to make. This was supposed to be out in October, but I should have known that something like this would take longer than a week to finish. I still have plans to add more to this collection, including an LCT RPK, a G&G PRK9, a Tokamuri FNX45, a dual-tone Krytac Chris Vector, and a couple good-looking wood-furnished AKs, because they always look good in any collection. But the big plan is to get a classic Army M134 minigun in here. I'm already paying for it, so it's only a matter of time before it arrives. I should also start to pick up attachments and magazines for all of my replicas that I have. You saw that I have quite a few different guns that take unique magazines, so that's going to be pretty costly. Especially with the GHK AUG. I think each magazine is like $40 or more. 2020 should be a fun year for my collection. I just need some proper racks to make all this look good because I can't keep stuffing my living room with boxes and cases. I really hope you enjoyed this really long video over every gun in my collection. I think I have around a $17,000 collection as for now, but don't just stop here. Check out these other collection videos that I'll link down below. You just might like them more than you like mine after all. But I guess with that all read and said, I should probably end this off here as my last video of 2019. Be sure to enjoy your new year safely and responsibly, give to someone in need around you, and aim to improve yourself as we roll into a new decade. But until our next video drops from the city of San Antonio, this has been Scott Hollenbeck, and I will be sure to see you all next time.
Levi.
Are you ready for Friday?
Oh, dude, I'm ready.
Hey,
Make that money.
Get that bread, bro.
Yeah, sure, we're ready.
God.
Yeah.
Scott. Looking like a goddamn terrorist. Are you filming? Are you filming?
yo.
Scott, what'd you do?
Imagine somebody who went to a robbery and they just took floppy.